Every farmer just say, oh, say yeah.
Say oh, oh, say yeah, yeah, say oh, yeah, it's Friday. All right, it's Friday. And we made it to the end of the work week, so we have a lot to give thanks for. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Audrey Williams, and today we have a great show package just for you. We'll dive into the Ministry of Education and Youth's upcoming plans to transform the learning landscape. We'll also explore how the government is increasing inclusivity for persons with disabilities in the workplace and look at some exciting career options for you and your child to consider for the future. All this and more after the news.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, June 7, 2024. The House of Representatives has passed legislation to establish a National Natural Disaster Reserve Fund for Jamaica. The Financial Administration and Audit Amendment No. 3 Act 2023 was piloted by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark. He says the fund seeks to buttress and strengthen the government's disaster risk management framework given the vulnerabilities that Jamaica faces from more frequent and intense natural disasters as well as economic shocks.
What we hope to have is a stabilization mechanism, a counter-cyclical buffer to which the government of the day can turn to in the event of such natural or non-natural disaster. One of the central economic lessons from our history is that we have to always be creating, maintaining, improving, and increasing fiscal buffers that allow us to endure and recover from economic shocks.
The bill, which was approved in Tuesday's sitting of the lower house, identifies the sources of financing and the conditions under which withdrawals may be made from the fund.
It is important to note that the NNDRF is not meant to replace or displace the role of the National Disaster Fund established under the Disaster Risk Management Act, which has an entirely different purpose for mitigation and preparedness, rapid early response, and recovery.
Government is moving forward with plans to establish a transportation system for students in rural Jamaica. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says it will cost the government approximately $11 billion annually to adequately fund this.
To achieve this objective, it is estimated that an annual subsidy of $10.623 billion will be required to adequately provide the rural school transportation system, the actual implementation of which is expected to be private sector driven. We have received support from the Ministry of Education for this initiative, and it is now to engage the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service as to how to fund its implementation.
The Transport Minister was making his sectoral presentation in Parliament earlier this week. It is estimated that households in rural Jamaica spend more than $8 billion each year on transportation for students attending primary and secondary institutions. Minister Vaz says while the government may not be able to afford a full rollout of the system over the short term, it could be operationalized in phases.
Because I believe that where we are now, we can plan to even implement it on a phase basis. Because $10 billion a year is not sustainable in the immediate future.
The government is embarking on a massive vehicle removal program island-wide. Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, says the National Solid Waste Management Authority will carry out the exercise through the use of 4 newly acquired cranes.
You have garage operators who have taken over the streets, operating garage 24/7 without any respect. It is difficult, especially for those persons who are physically impaired and disabled, to access our sidewalks because used car owners take them over, garage operators take them over. It is creating a nightmare. And I call on the country to unite in this effort to rid our streets of this kind of danger.
In the meantime, Minister Mackenzie is acknowledging the NSWMA's efforts to tackle the national challenge of plastics disposed of improperly. The agency is administering a plastic separation and collection drive that currently involves 69 communities across the country.
Over 500,000 pounds of plastic have been collected so far. This critical initiative will be expanded this year and will be supported by a dedicated assignment of 10 tipper trucks units. This is a vital complement to the work that is constantly being done to clear waste from the gullies and drains, of which plastic is a huge component. Preventing plastic from entering our waterways is of even greater importance as we enter the hurricane season.
The local government minister has announced that the last of 50 garbage trucks promised for this year are on the way.
10 of these trucks are already here, and the remainder are on their way. Their deployment across the regions will lift the standards of service to a new level. This will go beyond the general improvements in public cleansing.
Minister Mackenzie was making his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament recently. He reveals that the 50 compactor trucks previously procured for the NSWMA enabled the agency to collect more than 1.1 million tons of solid waste during the fiscal year from April 2023 to March 2024. 8 of these trucks are being exclusively used to address garbage collection backlogs. State Minister of Education and Youth Marcia Smith is urging students to resist the use of tobacco products amidst the growing trend of vaping and e-cigarette usage among young people. The call to action was made during her address at a youth forum and exhibition held at Pembroke Hall Primary School recently. Mrs. Smith emphasized the lethal potential of tobacco usage, comparing its long-term effects to the immediate dangers posed by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The very same dangers that we face from COVID are the very same dangers that we face from tobacco. The only difference I would say is that we can see the immediate effects of COVID. The tobacco is a lot more dangerous. You know why? It's a secretive enemy. It lurks in the body for years, and you think you're okay. You think it's okay to smoke, and you think it's okay to vape, but guess what's happening to the lungs? You saw the lungs there? They are slowly becoming damaged.
Chief Technical Director in the Crime Prevention, Rehabilitation and Inspectorate Policy Division of the Ministry of National Security, Shauna Trowers, also reiterated the government's commitment to addressing the matter.
The government has already taken steps to combat this issue, and we have created a ban on tobacco advertising on domestic television and radio. We are proud to stand with the MCDA and the other partners to really commit to helping young people.
And finally, a delegation of 136 Jamaican athletes, along with their management team, coaches, and sports liaison officers, are set to travel to China for a specialized sport coaching program. This is courtesy of a significant bilateral exchange agreement between Jamaica and China that will give local athletes an opportunity to enhance their skills and foster cultural exchange through the medium of sports.
We signed an agreement with China where we would have our young athletes, our coaches and management teams go to China, spend 1 to 2 months there, be trained. Coaches get training and athletes get training. So this time around, the delegation will comprise 6 sporting disciplines: badminton, female basketball, female football, female volleyball, swimming, and gymnastics.
The sport minister made the announcement during the recent opening ceremony for a multi-purpose court at Crystal House, Jamaica in Spanish Town. The delegation is expected to embark on their journey between the last week of June and the first week of July. The selected athletes and management teams will participate in specialized training programs, theoretical discussions, and competitive events during their stay in China. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
The Joint Select Committee of Parliament reviewing the Domestic Violence Act wants to hear from you. Review the Act and share your opinions with the committee. You can find a copy of the Act on the Parliament's website at www.japarliament.gov.jm under the heading Publications. Once you've reviewed the Act, submit your written opinions by Friday, June 14, 2024 to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or email them at clerk@japarliament.gov.jm. Let your voice be heard. Thank you for staying with us. Government is charting a course to elevate the quality of education that students receive. In our upcoming feature, we'll delve into the plans and projections for the 2024-2025 fiscal year.
The Ministry of Education and Youth is leading a significant transformation of Jamaica's education sector. Transforming Education for National Development, TREND, is the program at the heart of this mission. This initiative builds on the work of the Jamaica Education Transformation Commission and its recommendations for the holistic improvement of the country's learning landscape. Of the 365 recommendations, 101 have already been implemented, indicating a proactive attitude to raising the caliber and value of education in the nation. Much is planned for the 2024-25 fiscal year.
School violence impedes the creation of safe learning environments for students. To address this issue, schools are employing a variety of procedures indicated in the government's safety and security policy. The ministry's various interventions include strategies to address student behavioral issues, parental involvement, civic pride, and offering guidance and counseling services. Supporting these is the provision of physical security measures to secure school entrances and surveillance activities on the learning compounds.
We have also embarked on a significant procurement in order to outfit our schools, and we should be able to put out that tender by the first term of the next year.
Another critical component of the safety and security policy is the provision of on-the-ground support for educational institutions.
School resource officers or police officers are assigned to a group of schools, and though no longer physically operating from our educational institutions, they continue to provide valuable support to schools. And this includes, but is not limited to, the following. They coordinate searches upon request. They visit schools regularly. We have motorized patrols in the general school environments before and after school hours. There's regular patrols in the transport and town centers to prevent students loitering during school hours. They do safety audits and reports upon request.
A transformed education sector also involves upgrading the technological infrastructure to help educators and students adapt to shifting global demands.
We just completed broadband internet connectivity in all our schools in St. Thomas, and even more recently, we have outfitted them with Wi-Fi that's available in all classrooms. And so we're pleased to note that to date, 663 of our public schools and places of safety have been connected to the national school network. We want to be known as the STEM graduate producing country, one that promotes the creative and logical thinking of our students. We have already identified one of the 6 locations in Bernard Lodge, St. Catherine, to locate the first STEM school. Since then, the land has been transferred to the Ministry of Education and Youth, and the design work has begun. We've also identified another location in St. Anne. Land transfer is in progress and other works have begun. Our agency, the National Education Trust, fondly known as NET, is leading on this along with our World Bank partners for the location in St. Anne. School board members constitute one of the largest group of volunteers in our country. They total almost 10,000 and they give many hours. And oftentimes they give up their own resources to help our schools. A revised set of procedures has been developed in keeping with the recommendations of the transformation report in terms of our school boards. And it calls on us to review the performance of school boards at the end of each board cycle with the introduction of a monitoring and evaluation framework to train school board members, to streamline the current school governance arrangements, and to acknowledge our school board members. We're pleased to share that early childhood practitioners that have been trained in various areas concerned with professional development total 1,500.
In addition, more teachers are set to enter the classroom this September.
We continue through the Jamaica Teaching Council to build capacity through mandatory teacher mentorship for beginning teachers, mandatory professional days yearly, providing trainers of teachers, support for teachers in how they teach boys, and so on. We're happy to report, Madam Speaker, that a beginning teachers induction ceremony was held for over 1,200 teachers who will enter the system in September of this year. Over 1,000 mentors have been trained to ensure support for beginning teachers and boys' education.
Through the creation of holistic empowerment centers, the Ministry of Education is also working to enhance the lives and standards of living of young people.
And I'm happy to report that we will see the reopening of 2 more youth innovation centers in Hanover, Madam Speaker, and Portmore later this year.
There is also a concerted push at the tertiary level to increase affordability and accessibility to higher learning.
While we focus our minds on that, I'm pleased to note, and as announced recently by the Prime Minister, the allocation of $3 million each to members of Parliament to provide tertiary scholarships up to $200,000 per tertiary student. In closing, Madam Speaker, I remind all Jamaicans that transformation is a process that requires all hands-on-deck approach, and so it's our collective responsibility to support our teachers, to invest in our schools, to engage our children and youth to become active participants in not only their learning, but also in making our country and our world better and more sustainable. Together we can. Together we are trending. We're trending, transforming education for national development.
We know you want better roads in your towns and communities. That is why through the SPARK program, your government is allocating over $40 billion over 2 years to fix your community and rural roads. $20 billion will go towards fixing smaller roads in every area, with $150 million allocated per area. The remaining funds will be distributed based on road length and condition, ensuring areas with greater need receive more assistance. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
In a rapidly evolving world, traditional career paths such as medicine, law, and engineering are no longer the sole avenues to success. Angels Primary School is making that known, and we give you a taste of what they're doing in our next feature.
Choosing a career is a pivotal time in one's life, a decision that can shape the trajectory of your future.
It is important to have career days at school. Reason being, it exposes the children to the many different careers, and at the tender age, then they do get an idea of what they want to become. Also, they gain more knowledge because when they see the different type of careers, they do ask questions, and there you're able to educate them on what is there for them in the future.
Yet, amidst the myriad of options, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, torn between conflicting interests and aspirations. But finding clarity in this journey need not be daunting. In fact, it can be a fulfilling exploration of aligning your passions with your profession. Take, for example, the passion for cooking. If the aroma of spices and the artistry of food creations ignite your soul, then perhaps a career in the culinary arts beckons.
Did you add your salt? Did you add your black pepper? Thank you for coming to Angels Primary School. And if you're thinking about a career, think about being a chef. Why? Because culinary arts widens your horizon, not only as a professional chef, but it develops a greater appreciation towards food as a culture, as an art, and even health, all of which can be passed on to customers.
But beyond the sensory pleasures of cooking lie a multitude of benefits and opportunities. Having a career in culinary arts offers numerous benefits, ranging from personal growth to skills development, which can lead to a variety of prospects for advancement. Being a chef offers the chance to unleash creativity and innovation in the kitchen as you experiment with flavors, textures, and presentations. As chefs gain experience and refine their craft, a world of opportunities unfolds before them, such as advancement to positions like executive chef or restaurant owner. Furthermore, studying culinary arts may provide individuals with a deep understanding of various regional and international cuisines, which fosters appreciation and respect for diverse culinary heritage. Perhaps most enticingly, the culinary arts empower individuals to pursue entrepreneurship and start their own businesses. Imparting these and other inspiring information is the purpose behind career days at schools, where the dedicated efforts of teachers help to ignite aspirations and guide further paths for success.
We are the teachers of Angels Primary School.
On behalf of the management and flight crew here at Angels Primary School, we thank you for flying with us.
Keep watching as we journey forward, exploring the bright future that lies ahead.
Inclusivity for persons with disabilities is a critical aspect of creating an equitable society. This includes creating a work environment that accommodates all employees with or without disabilities.
The
law has been ensuring positive changes in the lives of persons with disabilities. This is especially so as it relates to strides being taken to increase the number of disabled people being employed. Since the Act, local companies have assisted in training young people with disabilities on how to write resumes and prepare for work. Executive Director of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, Dr. Christine Hendricks, says more companies have become proactive.
We have seen definite effort on the part of companies in terms of whether retrofitting their spaces, writing or drafting inclusive policies to include persons with disabilities, or indicating that they would require training for their staff, and engaging us at the JCPD to help to facilitate the provision of materials, so that they can make that training available to their staff.
But training is not the only area where decisive action is being taken. The new Act has piqued individuals and companies' interests regarding matters affecting persons with disabilities. Dr. Hendricks says local companies have expressed worry that disabled persons are not applying for positions at their companies. She says the council is helping to change that.
We did indicate to them the availability of the website of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, that whenever they have positions to make it available to us, because we have a network of the disability sector that we can share, such information with whenever we get it.
The Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities is also recruiting to assist in the employment of disabled persons. In its first year as a body corporate, the entity is in the process of transitioning to being more independent from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
So we too are in the process of recruiting, and we ensure that the disability sector is aware of the positions that are available so that they too can apply, because what better example, to demonstrate than, the council having, the people who have disabilities here in its employ.
One such employee is Angine Garrick, the council's receptionist. With the requisite training and her love of interacting with people, Angine's disability has not stopped her from finding gainful employment. She believes the Act will continue to help other members of the disabled community get employed.
There are a lot of persons out there with disability that need assistance and need finding job placement. So yeah, I definitely think it will.
And what of disabled people who want to be self-employed?
Persons with disabilities do have the option of starting their own business, and there are opportunities as we look at financial inclusion. And again, during Disabilities Awareness Week in December, we did have, along with the Bank of Jamaica and other entities, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Companies Office of Jamaica, looking at how persons with disabilities are being included in their policies and in their programs to ensure that as they build out financial inclusion, persons with disabilities are not left out.
Dr. Hendricks says the council also empowers individuals with disabilities.
At the JCPD here, we also have programs where persons can apply for and receive grants for economic empowerment for their own business, because you do have persons with disabilities who are into that independence and wanting to become their own bosses, and so they do have that opportunity as well. So that can be counted in the whole employment space.
We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, jis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.